Welcome everyone to another broadcast for family engagement. My name is Mr. Wissam Sharafuddin. I'm the Family Engagement Community Liaison for HES Academies. And happy Friday. I have with me here Miss Sherry Katanis. Welcome, Miss Katanis, to the virtual studio.
Thank you for having me, Wissam Sharafuddin. I'm so glad to be here.
We are going to start our family engagement broadcast this Friday with an announcement or a reminder, actually. I hope that all of you, our parents and community of HES Academies, you know it's a special day today. It is the annual virtual scholarship gala for the American Educational Foundation. And Ms. Ketanis is going to remind us about the event tonight.
Yes, we're very excited. This event was originally scheduled to take place last March, March 20, and due to COVID-19, we had to postpone it. We were planning on having nearly 600 people gather to celebrate our scholarship awardees for the 2019-2020 school year. We weren't able to do it then, but we were able to award the scholarships to the students at graduation. So all 26 of the students who got scholarships last year were awarded their scholarships. But we still like to have the opportunity to celebrate them. They kind of got their scholarships rather quietly with no celebration. So the scholarship gala that we're doing now will be our virtual scholarship gala. We will be celebrating their accomplishments. We'll also be recognizing two of our distinguished Cornerstone awardees for the year. Mr. Kusan is our distinguished Cornerstone community leader this year, and Magistrate Judge Rula Ulun is our distinguished Cornerstone alumni this year, and we will be awarding them their scholarships, or their awards, excuse me. We will also be having a very exciting auction that's going on. We had a number of donations from some very, very generous sponsors in our community, and we have some really amazing items that are going up for bid. If we can show them that screen, where they can go, Mr. Sharafuddin, there are some amazing items on that screen. We have a big 55-inch color TV. We have a week-long camp with Z the Cook. We have an opportunity for a gift certificate for uniforms, the company that supplies our academy uniforms. We have a great package that's here from the Arab American National Museum. Some amazing scarves and hijabs with the undershirts and umtas that go with them. Some packages we have some great things from the Detroit Lions. We have a tablet. We have some really fabulous value gift cards from local restaurants.
So they can bid on these. They can bid on these items, and the highest bidder gets the item, and the money goes to where?
All the money will go to. We have a current drive right now. It's called the Digital Equity Access Drive. All of the funding within that, we're going to be generating from the auction, will go towards Wi-Fi hotspots for our students who do not have home internet access. We will be purchasing some home Wi-Fi hotspots and the internet access to provide for those students. So all of your money goes to a great place. You get some wonderful items up for bid. And everybody is going to have a great time. The bidding on the auction does close precisely at 7:30. So the highest bidder at 7:30 p.m. will be the overall winner.
Awesome. And I left the link in the comments if you would like to bid on some of these items for the benefit of the students. You can go ahead and use the link in the icon. So the program is tonight at 6:30.
6:30.
And
There's a preview of some stuff that's going on in the auction. Some of the auction items that'll start at 6:20. And then the program and presentation starts at 6:30. We expect it to all be complete by the end of the auction at 7:30.
Awesome. And I left the link to the virtual gala tonight in the comment section. So you can always click on it, and you can hit a remind. You can subscribe to the YouTube page of American Educational Foundation. And we'll see you tonight at 6:30. It's a short program, 6:30 till 7:15. For 45 minutes, we'll celebrate the scholarship winners and community awardees.
We'll see you all tonight. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Ms. Kitanis. We'll see you again tonight.
We'll see you then.
All right. Another thing I want to share with you before we go to our guest speakers today is the memo that was released yesterday from our superintendent, Ms. Nawal Hamadi, and it's about the extension of the virtual learning. Let me share that with you. So if you are a parent or community member who subscribes to one of the email lists of the schools, then you should have received an email with that content. But at any case, I will be sharing with you today this memo from our superintendent, Ms. Nawal Hamadi. So basically, I'm going to leave the link to this memo in the comment section, so you can read it if you want, with all the details. So the memo is really detailed. It's 3 pages, and it's translated into Arabic for those parents who'd like to read it in Arabic. Ms. Hamadi, she explains the thought process behind these decisions. And thank you for all the parents who participated in the survey, parents and students. So please continue to fill these surveys, because based on your feedback, it has an influence on the decision making in terms of keeping us safe and returning to school or staying virtual. Of course, in addition to all the other factors. In this memo, they're all explained in very much details. Basically, virtual learning is extended till the end of the year 2020 and the end of the winter break. So stay tuned for further memos after that period to know what is going to happen next after that. We have a high percentage of our parents who are satisfied with the online learning. That's an average of 3.5 on a scale of 1 to 5. And 90 to 98% of our students and staff are engaged on daily communication. So we have a high rate of engagement. And the majority of parents felt unsafe returning to school at this point. So for other reasoning, the memo explains exactly why this decision was made. So thank you for that, Ms. Hamadi, and I'm going to leave the link in the comment section. And now I'd like to introduce to you Ms. Valentina Ahmedi. She's the head nurse at Star International Academy. Welcome, Ms. Hamadi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Sharifuddin, for having me. My name is Valentina Ahmedi. I am a lead nurse aide. I've been working for Hamade Education Services for almost 20 years. Today I want to talk to you about flu and prevention. It's currently flu and respiratory disease season. Influenza, also known as the flu, is a contagious respiratory illness caused by influenza viruses that infect the nose, throat, and lungs. Flu is different from a cold and usually comes on suddenly. Each year, flu viruses cause millions of mild to severe illnesses, and at times can lead to death. Children are often need medical care because of flu complications like pneumonia, bronchitis, sinus, and ear infections. How the flu spread? Flu viruses are thought to spread mainly by droplets made when someone with coughs with flu coughs, sneeze, or talks. These droplets can lead in, land in the mouth or nose of people who are nearby. A person also can get flu by touching something that has flu virus on it and then touching their mouth, eyes, or nose. People with flu may be able to infect others from first day before getting sick to up to 5 to 7 days after. Severely ill people or young children may be able to spread the flu longer, especially if they still have symptoms. So what are the flu symptoms? Flu symptoms can include fever, cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, muscle or body aches, headaches, chills, feeling tired and sometimes vomiting and diarrhea, more common in children than adults. It's important to note that not everyone with the flu have a fever. If your child is sick, call your doctor. Call pediatrician right away if the child developed symptoms. If your child is experiencing the following emergency warning signs, you should go to the emergency room right away and call 911. Fast breathing or trouble breathing, bluish or gray skin color or lips, the child refusing to eat and not drinking enough liquids, severe or persistent vomiting, not waking up or not interacting, severe cough, high fever with rash. Is there a medicine to treat flu? Yes, antiviral drugs are prescription medicine that can be used to treat flu illness. They can shorten your illness and make it milder, and then can prevent serious complications that could result in a hospital stay. Antivirals work best when, when started during the first day of illness. How can you protect yourself and your children from flu? The first and best way to protect against flu is to get a yearly flu vaccine for yourself and your child. It is especially important that young children and adults with certain long-term health problems get vaccinated. CDC and American Academy of Pediatrics recommend an annual flu vaccine for all children 6 months and older. Getting yourself and your child vaccinated also can protect others. Contact your doctor or health department to ask about free drive-through flu vaccine availability. What are some other ways you can protect yourself and your child against flu? In addition to getting a flu vaccine, you and your child should take everyday action to help prevent the spread of germs. Stay away from people who are sick as much as possible to keep from getting sick yourself. If you or your child are sick, avoid others as much as possible to keep from infecting them. Also remember to regularly cover your cough and sneezes. Wash your hands often. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Routinely clean and disinfect all surfaces around the house that may be contaminated with the flu virus. And don't forget electronic devices such as cell phone, keyboard, iPads, tablets. Get your vitamin natural way. A healthy and balanced diet means your kids are getting more vitamins through their food. Put on a table plates with fresh cut fruit and vegetables so the kids will be more attractive to eat them. Help your child stay at healthy weight by balancing what your child eats with physical activity. Parents are often the most important role models for children. When you choose to eat right and be physically active, your child will be more likely to make those choices too. Plus, being active and preparing healthy meal together are great ways to spend quality time with your family. The healthy habit your child learns now can last a lifetime. Hydrate yourself. Teach your kids to make a good habit to drink plenty of water. During the height of cold and flu season, you should cut down on exposure to pick up viruses and bacteria. Consider skipping crowded grounds, the play area in the mall, the movie theater, for example, and the large birthday parties and wedding parties. Keep in mind that while many parents are use a cool mist humidifier during the winter to help kids with nosebleeds and dry skin, those higher humidity levels can also increase the level of dust mites and mold in your home, which can trigger allergies in susceptible people. Install a carbon monoxide detector in your home if you use a fireplace or other non-electric heating sources. The American Dental Association recommends that you replace your toothbrush approximately every 3 to 4 months, and every time you or your child have a cold or flu. Get your kids into a regular bedtime routine. Make sure they get adequate sleep. Dress kids appropriately for the cold weather if they are playing outside, or find an indoor sport for them. Please, for more information about the flu and prevention, visit website www.cdc.gov/flu. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for having me. Wishing you and your families all the best. Stay healthy, stay strong. We all in this together.
Thank you, Ms. Hamadi. I shared the screen with the CDC flu website, and I shared the link in the comment
Thank you.
section. If you need more information how to prevent yourself from the flu, please visit that website. I have one question too from a parent, Maya Murhi. She asks, is it better to take some vitamins like vitamin D, C, and zinc?
Always the best answer from professionals like me, I should say, please consult your child physician or your own physician. As I already mentioned in this interview, my presentation, the best way to get vitamins through the food. But please consult your pediatrician and your own physician for more questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yusra, she says, drink a lot of water also. Thank you, Ms. Hamadi. Thank you for the presentation. And
You are welcome.
parents of Star International Academy children or HES Academies, Ms. Valentina is available in the school. If you ever have any questions or concerns, you can always call the school and ask to speak to her. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And now I would like to present to you our main program or presentation for today, which again comes from Access. I'd like to present you with Ms. Hala, Mallah, and Mr. Ahmed Ballout. Ms. Hala, she's a health educator, and she's a health educator with the Access Substance Abuse Program Community Coalition. She graduated from Wayne State University with her master's in social work. She has experience working with individuals and communities and is focused on empowering others through education. And Mr. Ahmed Ballout has over 8 years of law enforcement experience and is now working as a substance abuse prevention advocate and caseworker at Access. In collaboration with Dearborn Police, Ahmed works with law enforcement to support individuals and families who suffer from drug addiction, mental health disorders, and suicide. Ahmed is also very active in schools and believes in empowering students through awareness campaigns and education. In addition to this, he is also a certified naloxone trainer and provides trainings for individuals, families, businesses, and community members. You can reach Ahmed at the following number and email that I am leaving in the comment section. And thank you, Ahmed, for providing this information. You are always one call or one email away from reaching Ahmed if you need any help, any advice, any consultation. No worries, no fees. So thank you for always being there for the community. I think you have a presentation that you will also be showing. So once it's ready, I'll be there to display it. You can take it from there. Welcome to HES Family Engagement Broadcast.
Thank you, Mr. Wissam, for always being a great partner with the school, Universal Academy, always there, and we're always there for you for support and for being our facilitator. Amazing job as always. I want to thank the parents for taking the time of their really busy day, trying to take care of the kids and trying to be here and be present. I want to thank you all. I want to thank Hala for being my IT person for the day and helping me out in a presentation. So thank you all. With that, we're going to start. You can go ahead, Hala, and share the presentation. We're going to talk about marijuana. Marijuana, as you all know, is legal in our state of Michigan. They recently legalized it in 2018. So there'll be a lot more exposure, whether we like it or not. We're going to be exposed to it. We're going to be seeing it. There's a lot more vendors that are certified and legal to exercise and do their business legally in the state of Michigan. So it's very important to understand what it is, and we're gonna be outlining. I'm gonna go through the outline for the day. We're gonna talk about what is marijuana, what is it made of, the way they use it, the side effects it may cause, the legality issue, which is very important, signs of use, like the person may the way the person looks, like the sign to look for in a person that is using marijuana, and finally how to talk to your kids about it, how to talk a person that's using it, and finally we're going to be sharing resources. Please, at any time of the presentation, feel free to ask your question, and I would be more than happy to. Thank you, Yusra. We'll be more than happy to answer them to you. We would like it to be more of engagement stuff other than us just reading the presentation to you. I'll be sharing a lot more information that's not in there, so is Hala. So Hala, go ahead, the next page, please. So what is marijuana? Marijuana is a hemp plant. It's a plant from cannabis sativa. The main active chemical that we gotta pay attention for, it's THC. T is tetra, H is for hydro, and C cannabinol. That's the type of that's the part that gets the person high and addicted to. There's about 400 other chemicals on it, but the main two things when we're talking about THC, and we're gonna brush a little bit on the CBD. We'll be talking about the difference on those. Go ahead, the next slide. So those are different slangs that you may hear. Blunt, dope, green, hash, or hashish, we might hear in our Arabic dialect. Joint, Mary Jane, or MJ, which is short of Mary Jane. Pot, skunk, weed, and bud. Skunk, just so you guys know, skunk, this is what it exactly smells like. If you smell it, a lot of time you might confuse it for skunk. A smell, well, this is what marijuana smells like. It's the skunk. So that's kind of give you an indicator what is a marijuana smells like. It's a very, very strong smell, and it lingers for a long time. So it stays in one spot for a little while. So if a person smoking it in their car, in their clothes, it will stay on them for a long period of time. So it's very easy to detect. Next slide, please. So how is marijuana used? So they use it in many different ways. They smoke it, or they eat it. So many people, the different ways that are common, they call it a joint. They use a cigarette paper to roll it. That's the cheapest and easiest way to do it. Marijuana is also, they use it in water pipe. They're a little bomb. They look like little small hookah made out of glass with a glass tip. It is also smoked in cigars called blunts. Again, same type as the joint, where they use a cigar leaf paper and they roll it into a blunt. Marijuana can also be mixed into food, brewed as tea and ingested. So they can mix the THC component into the food and they cook it. They can bake it into brownies, cookies, and other food that they can eat it. And the most important one I want to go over is vaporized. This is a new technology with the vape pens that have been exposed to recently. It's huge in the market, the vape pens. People use the THC liquid, they put it into the vape pen and they smoke it. And it turns out it's a lot more potent, a lot more powerful. I will go over more of the side effects of the vape pen later on. But yes, there has some with marijuana, the natural leaf, you cannot overdose from it in its form. But mixed with other drugs or other chemicals or other components, it may cause a person to overdose. Overdose that may cause a person to get hurt or all the way to death. So we'll go over that on the next slide. Go ahead, Hala. So edibles in the states where marijuana has become legal, more and more marijuana edibles are seen in retail establishment where marijuana is sold, including baked goods. They look like candy. They are actually packaged candy like those gummy bears. Those gummy bears have THC component in it, and people eat them. There's also professionally made cookies, brownies that are packed, but they're not sold in a regular store. They're sold in only certified vendors. Okay, anything that has any kind of THC, they need to have a license. Now we gotta treat marijuana sales kind of like a person that sells cigarette. If you want to sell cigarette, you need to get a certificate to sell cigarettes. Same thing, alcohol. You need to get a certificate from the state to sell alcohol. Now marijuana, now we treat it just like cigarettes and alcohol. Marijuana, you have a store, and different cities have different legalized law for it, I would say, and you need to get a certificate to sell those. So if you see anybody selling it other than a certified vendor, it's illegal. So let's be clear on that. So they're very strict. Does marijuana affect people badly? And if so, what does it affect the most? Okay, that's a really good question. Somebody asked, does marijuana? Okay, let's go back to that one. Thank you, Wissam. Does marijuana affect people badly? And if so, what does it affect the most? Okay, marijuana, the smoking part can affect your lungs depending how you use it. But mainly, if you have a kind of like mental health issue and you use marijuana, it may increase it. If you have anxiety, it will increase your anxiety. A lot of people think that they smoke marijuana because they think it calms them down. I've have a lot of people I work in my field that we respond to that have mental health issues such as anxiety, schizophrenia, or just regular anxiety or PTSD. They smoke marijuana and it has the reverse side effect. It makes them it causes very anxious. It makes them very nervous. And especially if you have very concentrated THC in, for example, a vape pen or whatnot. So it depends. Like if it's laced with other drugs, which is fentanyl, carfentanil, those are drugs on the street, it may cause them to overdose. بصير معاه جلطة, or I don't know how we call that, overdose in Arabic, بس بصير معهم فعل بالجسم. And that's very dangerous. So yeah, it depends. But mainly, I would worry about the lungs. If you smoke a lot of marijuana, like cigarettes, it will harden your lungs. And the second part which is mental health. It will make your mental health increase. Now, that's the two sides. What's the second question, Wissam? Can you go back to it, please? What parts of the body? Yeah, we already covered that. Now, for the youth, now because it's legal for the age of 21 and over, there's a reason for that, because our brains, if we talk about like addiction and brain development, our brains will, as adults, will stop growing and forming on mid-20s, late 20s. So we put it as the age of 21. This way, a youth that's using drugs at a younger age, I personally consider it for a youth that's using marijuana, especially, as a gateway drug. So it kind of opens up for other drugs too, so they can use. Because as they grow older, the potency of marijuana is not good enough for them to get high. That will be covered on a different. That will probably. So, but those are different. But thank you for those questions. Please keep them coming. So the well-known foods: brownies, chocolate, cookies, pizza, gummy bears. Go ahead for the next slide. Hala. Okay, those are THC-rich concentrate. Those are very scary. So when you extract THC from marijuana, the plant, okay, then it's extremely concentrated. So the THC part is the addictive part, the parts that get you extremely high, and it's not going to be pure THC. It's going to be mixed with other chemicals. So that's something to be very careful of. So those are different types. Hash oil, gooey liquid. Okay, this one is very common. It's a liquid, but it's a little bit thicker, kind of like honey. And it looks like honey too, but they can use it in oil. They can rub it on the body on aches and muscles. They come out when they legalize marijuana. They come out with a lot of different ways that the THC will go into your body. So it could be used as an oil, a rubbing oil. It could be used. You can use that to mix it with food and cook with it, and you can smoke it also. You gotta heat it. Heat it. That is actually the part they use for mix it with vape pen. This one. Now wax, this is the top left corner. Wax is the bottom left corner. I don't know if Wissam, could you remove that banner from down there, please? Yes, thank you. The bottom left corner where that, thank you, Wissam. This is, it looks like a lip balm, the stuff you put on your mouth. That's the thickness of it, okay? The wax, it's a soft solid, resemble a lip balm. That one, you gotta melt it, and they use it into smoking only. They put it in like the bongs that we already talked about earlier. Now shatter, the top right corner, they have a special made vape pens. They call them wax pens, and it's very breakable. It's hard, but as soon as you touch it, it breaks. People love using those because you can use it in different ways. You can melt it, you can smoke it, okay? So it's has many uses for it. They call it shatter. So it's kind of, it shatters as soon as you touch it, it breaks. That's the name shatter, where it comes from. Next slide, please. Okay, the difference between THC and CBD. Unlike THC, CBD is a cannabinoid that doesn't make people high. So does not make them high or any, only that color. Okay, does it come in different colors or only that color? From my knowledge and what I've seen, it may change. It becomes like a little bit lighter, almost yellow. Okay. Now, could it come in? Could the liquid form could come in different colors? Yes, depending if they put like a flavoring into it or they put like a coloring into it. But that's what the color it comes from. It looks like dark honey. So that's what it's known for. But could they put like liquid, like they can change the color? All you need to do is a drop of coloring, food coloring, and you can change the color. It's not that hard. So, but just be mindful of it. I'm pretty sure if they buy it legally, it has a brand on it, it has everything on it. It's very known. All right. Thank you for that question. So CBD and THC. CBD and another chemical that they take out from the hemp plant. And we don't know exactly. It's not addictive. It doesn't get you high. Therefore, it's not very famous. Okay. The market for it right now is growing because it has other uses. It may use reducing pain, inflammation, reduces fever, possibly even treating mental illnesses and addiction. Okay. So research as of now, we have not done enough research on CBD, so we don't understand the bad part and the good part, the benefits or the side effects of it. We don't have a complete list of it because research is growing. And another very important thing, CBD you can extract from other plants other than the marijuana leaf. Okay, it's in like I think 5 or 6 different other plants that they pull it out. You can buy it from any place. You don't need to buy it from a THC vendor. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, before 2018, before they legalized recreational marijuana in our state of Michigan, they used to have a thing called medical marijuana. And in order for it was legal for a while before they legalized it. And medical marijuana, you need to have a medical marijuana kind of like a license, like a card, and it has to be signed and approved by a doctor. A person that is consuming it will need to get one, or if you got a caretaker helping a person that's severely ill, you can acquire that, and they only allow you a certain amount to carry and transport to one location to another location. Now, the difference between medical and recreational marijuana, it kind of self-explanatory. Medical marijuana, you use it for medicinal uses. Usually, it's people with terminally ill diseases or extremely hard diseases, such as AIDS, schizophrenia, cancer. But let's be clear, marijuana or THC does not cure anything. It's kind of like a different form of pain management or an appetite open, like it opens up the appetite. A person that goes through chemotherapy, with all the pain and the suffering, the doctor is like, you know what, that person is suffering. They're losing weight because they're not eating. So I might approve to you to use a certain amount of medical marijuana. First, it kind of slows the pain a little bit, and it opens up the appetite. Definitely makes the person very hungry so they can eat, because a lot of people lose their appetite when they have cancer or chemotherapy. So those are different types, but let's be clear, it does not cure anything. All right. So recreational marijuana, self-explanatory also, it's used for recreation. You use it when you don't need it. You use it to get high pretty much. Usually it's smoked or inhaled. Sales of marijuana is legal in Michigan. There are regulations regarding its use. We'll go about the regulation in depth on the next in a few slides down. Go ahead on the next slide. This is the legal one. So in 2018, recreational use of marijuana was legalized. The age limit is 21. Okay, so what we found out with the studies in the state of Colorado, was one of the first states that legalized marijuana. Underage consumption increased because they legalized it, and underage arrest increased also because the young people that are under the age of 21 think, oh, wait a second, it's legal for people to smoke it now. Let me do it. But then they get caught by law enforcement officer and they get charged. Just so you know, marijuana is a Schedule I drug. Okay, so that's by the federal government. It's always been that way, and that did not change even when they legalized it. So there is the repercussion that were legal before for a person to get arrested are still the same for federal officer. Okay, which brings me to the next step. A lot of us here have a green card or going through immigration. If you get caught by a federal officer or if you get tested positive for marijuana, okay, they might make you lose your student visa. They might make you lose your green card application, and so on and so forth. Not only that, so if you get arrested under the age of 18, okay, that goes into your record. Or under, let's say from 18 to 21, you're an adult, right? But you get arrested for possession or consumption. Okay, that will go into your record. Let's say you're a college student, you're going to college, okay, and you got arrested with marijuana. They can prosecute you by law because you're under the age of 21, and that goes into your record. Then, after a few years later, you try to apply for that high-paying job or a lot of jobs they might ask you. It might get expunged, but then there are other jobs. From my law enforcement experience, I did like 4 different background investigation on myself to get into a nice, trustworthy position, and they had to ask all my background, everything from high school, elementary school, middle school. So they will know that if you at one time you got arrested for possession or whatnot. Could that affect your hiring process? Most likely. Okay, could that affect your scholarship? Earlier on, the great school of Hamade, they're giving out scholarship for all the youth. If that person has an issue, a legal issue, that might hinder it, that might stop it. So all those things come to effect. So if it's legal for the age of 21, that doesn't mean it's legal for anybody under the age of 21. Also, I want to be clear. If you got caught driving and you're under the influence, that's a DUI. Okay, that's driving under the influence, just like driving drunk under the influence of alcohol. Same thing. It does hinder your attention span. It makes you react different, a lot slower when you're driving. All those things you got to pay attention to. Laws pertaining marijuana use among teens have not changed. Marijuana use is still not legal for youth. Consequences pertaining to teens getting caught with possession of marijuana can vary depending the circumstances. It could be ticket, fines, probation, treatment center, affects youth future, government assistance, access to jobs and education. So all those things come into effect. How much time do you get arrested for? That depends. That depends. It might let's be clear. If an officer puts you under arrest, that even for a minute. If they take you to the station and they release you, that goes into that person's record. Okay? Let's be clear, whether you get arrested for 1 or 10 or 100 days, the minute you get arrested, that goes into the when they cuff you up and they take you for an investigation, that's an arrest. That goes into the record, either for one minute or 100 days. Same. That goes into the record. Let's be clear on that. A lot of time when people apply for application, the first thing they ask you, have you been under arrest? So when you take the application and send it to that boss, what are they going to look at it? Oh, he's been arrested before. Oh, wait a second. Let me push that back down a little bit. So no matter how much education you get, all the stuff that you worked really hard for, that 1 or 2 bad decision, that might have an effect on you. That's what we're here to educate and empower you about the side effects of marijuana. It's legal, but there are ramifications for underage consumption. All right. Now I leave the rest for my amazing IT tech partner, Hala.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So thank you, Ahmed, for everything you've said. And I'm going to be continuing the discussion. And I'm going to be speaking about first the team perceptions about marijuana use in Macomb and in Wayne County and why that matters. So the reason we picked these 2 counties is because these are areas that we've presented to. And we also had this information from a survey that was done by the Michigan Department of Education. And they wanted to understand more about the youth's health. So this information that we have on the slide is from that survey. And it was said that 49.9% of the youth in Wayne County reported that marijuana was easy for them to access. And 33.8% had reported they thought some of their friends had used marijuana recently. We also see similar numbers in Macomb County, with 47.7% of youth reporting marijuana was easy for them to access, and about 32.9% had felt some of their friends had used marijuana recently. So any percentage of youth reporting that marijuana is easy for them to access is alarming. And the reason we have this information is to show you that marijuana use among youth exists in our county, in our community, and it's serious. So by understanding that youth think some of their friends have used it recently, it really lets you see that these youth are being exposed to others who are using marijuana. So even if, for example, your child or a child that you know isn't using marijuana, it's very likely that the child knows someone who is, and they might be exposed to those kinds of people, which might risk their attempt to try using marijuana. So this information isn't meant to scare you or worry you, but it's meant to show you that we need to do something about it, especially in our community. And we use this information as a sign to let us have these important conversations with youth. Because even if they aren't using it, there's a risk they could. So the earlier we start speaking to them about it, the earlier we can stop it. And it's also important to understand, why are the youth using marijuana to begin with? Well, there's a lot of different reasons. For some, they may think it's helpful for them to cope with life stress. They might be curious about trying it. Also, because it's become legal, the legalization of it has made the drug more accessible to the youth, as we can see by the numbers reported. So when the youth see that it's been legalized, they might start to think it can't be harmful to our health, it can't be that bad because it's already legal. So why does that matter? Because if they assume that it's not harmful for them, then it's more likely for them to try it, as opposed to when it was illegal. And this shows up in our report here with Wayne County and Macomb County, with 29.2% of students reported ever trying marijuana, with 17.3% of students reporting that they tried marijuana in just the last 30 days. And then the numbers again are similar in Macomb County, and that's because it kind of signifies to us the relationship between the 2 communities, since the populations might be similar, and that is why we see similar rates. So 26.9% of students in Macomb County reported trying marijuana, and 16.7% had reported using it within the last 30 days. And the ages of use between the two counties are very young, so they're around 14 years old when they first try marijuana. And again, any percentage of the marijuana use is worth our attention because marijuana now is much stronger than it was in the past. So, according to research in biological psychiatry, marijuana is more powerful now than what was available to us 20 years ago. So, as Ahmed had mentioned, THC, which is the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana, has been proven to have increased from about 4% strength in 1995 to nearly 12% strength in 2014. So it continues to increase every year. And because of that, the increase in strength means there's a higher health risk, especially for the youth. So, what are the risks to marijuana use, especially on the youth? As you can see here, it can disrupt their learning, their memory. They can also have a hard time with thinking or trying to solve life problems or school problems. They might not make the best decisions, and which we also start to fear might cause them a risk to try other kinds of substances or drugs. It also can distort their sight, their hearing, their sense of time. They're also their motor coordination, so they might have trouble walking, trouble moving, increased anxiety. It can also increase a lot of existing mental health issues or risk the start of a mental health issue for those at risk. And the reason why these risks are strong for the youth is especially because during the youth development, a lot of changes are happening to their brain. And any long term marijuana use can really affect that development. So the youth struggles to develop fully into an adult. And then any kind of long use with marijuana can really affect, again, their concentration, their working ability. It's been linked with impairment in problem solving, and a lot of effects can go on into their adulthood. So, how can a parent see the signs of marijuana use, especially if the youth is hiding it well? Some more physical signs. The first main thing would be, again, as Ahmed had said, if you do smell it, it does smell similar to the smell of a skunk. But if the youth is hiding that smell very well, then you can also look for other signs, such as their glassy red eyes, the way they're speaking might be slurred, might be a lot slower. They might also be eating a lot more than what is normal. There also a loss of motor coordination, or if you see that they're starting to use a lot of breath mints, mouthwash, any gum or eye drops, or anything to try to hide the smell, whether it's in the house, in their room, in the car, or just on their clothing. And then you may also find some sort of materials, so any rolling paper, a pipe, a bong, or any vaping equipment. If you start to see their friend group change or any changes in their grades. But I do want to let you know that if you do see one of these signs or a few of these signs, do not assume right away that the youth is using marijuana, but it is a good sign for you to maybe start talking to them about it before you make any assumptions or punish them. So now you understand some of the risks, some of the signs with youth marijuana use. I am now going to share with you tips on how and what you can do about this problem. The most important action you can take is to speak with the child about marijuana use, and some tips on how to discuss marijuana with the youth would be for you to try to keep an open mind, try to understand their situation, even if you can't understand it. Be clear about your goals, to really set boundaries with them, let them know something as simple as saying, I don't want you to use marijuana. Just by saying that alone, it can really let the youth understand what you expect from them and can really prevent them from using marijuana to begin with. Also, remain calm, relaxed. Don't lecture them, do not yell at them or punish them, because the main thing we want is the youth to turn to you, to talk to you, even if you don't support it, but simply just to keep that open mind so that they can talk to you about it, and then you can do something to stop this behavior before it gets too far. If you yell at them or lecture them, it's very likely that they won't stop that behavior, and they'll just hide it from you, which we don't want because we want to be supportive and help them get through it. And then maybe some examples to help you get thinking on how you could handle a conversation about marijuana use with the child. For example, if they say, I'll only use marijuana once in a while, instead of yelling at them, you could tell them, what would make it feel like a big deal to you? Or why do you not think it's a big deal? That gets them to start thinking about why they want to use marijuana in the first place and why they don't think it's a big deal. They can start to look into where they got their information from. Is that information correct? They'll also start wondering what kind of effects, negative effects, will marijuana have on them? And another conversation could be if they tell you, what if I did other drugs or drank alcohol? Weed is a lot safer. You can tell them, honestly, I don't want you to do anything that will harm you, but I'm interested in knowing why you think weed is safe as opposed to other drugs or substances. So again, this gets them thinking about where they got their information from, why they think it's safe to use marijuana, and it would more likely prevent them from starting it to begin with or to stop using it if they are. And so the main point to take away from this is to keep an open mind, keep open communication with the youth. Once your expectations for how they should behave are set, it's very likely that you'll have a trusting relationship. And the more trusting they are with you, the more help that you can provide to them. And before we do end this presentation, I did want to speak about something called Red Ribbon Week. And Red Ribbon Week happens once a year from October 23rd to the 31st. So tomorrow would be the last day of Red Ribbon Week. And this is where everyone, so community members, schools, law enforcement, everyone just gets together and they wear or display a red ribbon, as is shown on the PowerPoint. And this red ribbon is meant to raise awareness about drug use and to help promote and support healthy living and drug-free living. So what we did this year with Access was during our food drive-through distribution, we gave out over 1,000 boxes of food to families, and we also gave out this flyer with a red ribbon, and it was meant to show our support for a healthy, drug-free lifestyle and to get the awareness out there. So we were also visited by Representative Debbie Dingle, which was very wonderful. And this flyer, this Red Ribbon Week, was also meant to show that having a conversation about substance use, about drug use, is something so simple, but it's also very helpful in preventing drug use to happen. So this is something that you could have conversations with youth, and even if you think having a conversation might not be that helpful, it can really help and really prevent drug use from happening. So thank you everyone for listening to our presentation. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
So there had a question earlier. Does it mess up your teeth? Okay, so you got to treat smoking marijuana kind of like smoking cigarettes. So the more you smoke, the more danger you cause your teeth. Common sense. So if they consume it in food, it does not have any dangers because it's just like a few droplets. But if you smoke a lot of marijuana, just like cigarettes, same side effects, exactly the same. Okay. Now, do you get corona? If you have corona and you use it, will it affect you badly? Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, now, depending how you use, again, same thing, same concept. If you're smoking a lot, it is gonna hurt your lungs, and if corona hits the lungs first, and that's where it's dangerous. Now, consumption of marijuana has increased. If you are a marijuana user and during COVID, because everybody's locked up, consumption of substances, be it cigarettes, alcohol, marijuana have increased 30%. Okay, because people are depressed, people are sad, and people are locked down and bored. So there's many other side effects that come to that. But yes, if you smoke heavily marijuana and you're hurting your lungs, common sense, corona is gonna hurt it, have a more severe side effect. So yeah, very good questions, amazing questions. Thank you for your questions, Yusra and everybody else. So if you have any more questions, concerns, comments, you can leave it here or you can send it to my email. I don't know if we shared it at the beginning. So it's abalut@accesscommunity.org. I do work with Dearborn PD. If a family is struggling with substance addiction, mental health, and they need assistance, we do offer those services at Access. If they want me to come to them, we do social distancing. We stay outside, but the offices they depends by appointment only. But I'm clear to come see you, talk to you, of course, outside with the face mask, being safely distant. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Wissam, for always being there for us and us being there for you. Always happy to be here.
Thank you, Hala, and thank you, Ahmed, for this presentation. And thanks for our community members and families who have been watching. Thank you, special thanks to Yusra Wazir for her beautiful questions. And with that, that's the end of the Family Engagement Friday live broadcast. We invite you again to the tonight's scholarship gala at 6:30 to 7:15, and we'll see you in the next broadcasts. Have a great weekend.